So welcome to Faraday's Junior channel. And then as we have been doing today, we are going to tackle mesh analysis. But then we are going to look at the simplest way of solving this in an easy way. Within 2 minutes, you'll be able to finish. But in an exam, you should be able to use 30 seconds in solving this. Okay. So the rules is that we know there are mesh. We always assign what current to each loop, right? So we have I1, I2, and finally we have what I3 in the loop. So the rule is that now we are in loop 1. The rule is that we sum all the resistances within the loop. So if you look at this equation, we sum all the resistances. It means that we have 5 plus 5 will give us what? 10, right? Plus 3, that will give us what? 13. And multiply by what? Each loop what? Current. So we have what? 13 what? I1. Now you look at the resistances that is forming in that loop and forming with what? Another loop. Realize that this one is forming with this loop and forming with what? This loop. And then multiply by its loop current and subtract it. Do you understand? So we get what? Minus 5 what? I2. This is also forming with this and forming with the other one. So you do the same thing. So that will give us what? Minus what? 5 what? I3. And that will be equal to, realize that the movement is like this. And we are from negative to where? Positive. That will give us what? Positive what? 20. So equation 1. Now we move on to the next loop, which is this. The same rules apply. Where the rules state that we should sum all the results within the loop, right? So 5 plus 6 will give us what? 5 plus 6 will give us 11, right? Plus 2 that will give us what? 13. So we have 13 multiplied by what? This loop current. So we have 13 what? I2. This is forming with this loop, it's forming from this. So what do? We subtract it. So we have minus what? 5I1, right? And then you realize that this is also forming with this and forming with this, right? So we subtract, that will give us what? Minus 6 what? And that will be equal to, so from positive to where? Negative. That will give us negative what? 30, equation 2. Now we go to the last equation. The rule states that what? We sum all the resistances within the loop, right? So we have 7 plus 6 will give us what? 13, right? 13 plus 5 will give us what? 18. And multiply by what? Each loop current. So that will give us what? 18 what? I3. We realize that this one is forming with this loop and forming with another loop. So you subtract the loop is forming from, right? So that will give us what? Minus what? 5 what? I1. And this one is forming with this loop and forming with this loop. So we subtract that one too from the particular loop. So you got minus what? 6 what? I2. And that will be equal to, realize that we don't have any what? We don't have any voltage within the loop, so the results will be equal to 0. Equation 3. So after you're done, you just do it simultaneously. So it means our value of I1 is equal to I2, and finally we have our I3 equal to what? So can you give us the values? What did you get in your calculator? I1 is 0 amps, I2 0.84 watt amps, and then finally minus 0.46 watt amps. So you can redo the same thing again. That's one of the easiest way of what? Solving the mesh analysis. Thank you.